Welcome to the Sanskrit Podcast, where the ideas of ancient India meet the modern world. My guest today is Arjun Bharadwaj. He's a poet, scholar, and engineer from Bangalore. He's a polyglot who speaks many Indian languages and also classical Greek, German, and Sanskrit. Arjun has been trained in the Carnatic flute and tabla and is a connoisseur of many Indian art forms including dance, sculpture, and painting. He's also a student of the Vedanta. His current research focuses on comparing the aesthetics of classical Greek literature and Sanskrit literature. Quite a wide-ranging array. Namaste, Arjun.
Namaste.
Welcome. Today, Arjun will talk about the connection between the artist and the connoisseur or the Rasika. So, it's a very interesting topic, and where would you like to start?
When we start speaking about art, so there are two parts to it, right? On the one hand, the artist, and on the other hand, the connoisseur. I would rather use the term Rasika to denote connoisseur. So there is something that links the artist and the connoisseur, that is the Rasa. So in this session, we could go through who is an artist, what are his responsibilities, who is a good Rasika, what are his responsibilities and what should he take care of, and what is it that links the two, what is Rasa. This term is in fact something which is untranslatable to English, so we should rather keep it as Rasa itself while speaking. And in fact, Abhinavagupta, a 10th century aesthetician, he says, Saraswatyas tattvam kavi sahridayakyam vichayate. So the artist and the connoisseur are like the two sides of the same coin. They're nothing but the two manifestations of the same thing, the same Saraswati Tattva, manifests in two forms, which is the artist and the Rasika.
That gives a very elevated view to the
Absolutely,
Rasika.
Yeah. So, when we start talking about aesthetics and art, we should first of all go to the oldest treatise on performing arts, which is the Natyashastra. Many people today mistake Natyashastra to be a book on dance. Natyashastra does contain elements related to dance, but to say that it's just a book on dance is wrong. It's mainly a book on art and aesthetics, basically on performing arts. It has everything related to music, literature, sculpture, the design of a theater, the aharya, the ornaments or the costume of an actor, and so on. It has several aspects in it. And it also, of course, deals about bhava and rasa, emotions and aesthetic experience. So all of this put together is the Natyashastra.
And that is the fountainhead.
Right, yeah.
So everyone has heard of the Natyashastra, but very little is known of the author. So can you talk about who wrote the Natyashastra and why was it written? Why was it
So
needed?
in fact, this question is addressed in the Natyashastra itself. Bharata is the one who wrote the Natyashastra. In the very first chapter of the Natyashastra, several sages go to Bharatamuni and ask him, why was Natyashastra written at all and how did it come down to earth? And who is the originator of Natyashastra? So then Bharata narrates an episode, a mythical episode, where apparently at the end of the Kruta Yuga, so we have four yugas in Indian mythology. So at the end of the first yuga, that is the Kruta Yuga, apparently the earth was full of excessive greed, a lot of desires, and there were a lot of vulgar sentiments on earth and also in the heavens. So the Devas themselves wanted a respite from the world. They wanted peace from the world and they wanted a means of entertainment. That is why you would go to a movie or to watch a play, right? You want something where you can just forget yourself and enjoy in spite of the world. So that is what the Devas wanted. And who should they ask? When they are in need of something new, they would after all go to the creator of everything. So Brahma is the creator of the world and he is the creator of the four Vedas also. So they went to the creator, who is the Brahma, the Chaturmukha, the one with the four heads. So they went to him and asked for something. They said it this way: Kridaniya kamichamo drishyam shravyam cha yad bhavet. So they said we need an object of audio-visual entertainment, which would give us peace from the world. So Brahma, what he did was, he had already created the four Vedas. It is said that from each of his face, each Veda came out through his four faces. So he took up different aspects from the four Vedas, put them together, gave birth to a new Veda, which is called the Natya Veda. A systematization of this knowledge is the Natyashastra. the knowledge which was put together from the 4 Vedas, when it is systematized, it is called the Natyashastra. So what did he do? Jagraha Patyam Rigvedat. From Rigveda, he took the prose, the lyrics of whatever is there, and he took it out from there. And Samabhyo Geetamevacha. So from Samaveda, he took out the singing component, the song. Yajurvedat Abhinayan. So Abhinaya here means the hand gestures, the Abhinaya Hastas and the means of communication through the body. But in general, Abhinaya means the art of communication. So the art of communication was taken from the Yajurveda. Rasan Adharvanadapi is what is said. So these were the 3 structures, the lyric, the song and the Abhinaya, that is the dance, the theatre. This is the form, and what should be the content of all the 3? That is the Rasa. So it kind of says that it's like the old wine in the new bottle. Whatever was already existing in the 4 Vedas was given a new form called the Natyashastra. It's not something new that is created. It already existed in a different form. It was all put together in the form of Natyashastra.
And Bharata Muni got it from Brahma.
Yeah. So Brahma then called Bharata Muni and gave him this knowledge of Natyashastra. He gave him the text. And he also said that, okay, this is the theory that I have given. Why don't you execute it practically? So Bharata taught these techniques to his children. He had 100 children, it is said. So he taught these techniques to his children. And then he devised this play called the Samudramatana, the churning of the ocean. So the audience to this were the Daityas, the demons, and the Devas, the gods and the demons. So the play was going on. And as we know from the story, the demons get defeated, the Rakshasas get defeated in the story. So that was just being enacted on the stage. But the Rakshasas who were in the audience took it too personally and they started attacking the actors. Then Indra, who is the head of the gods, took the situation under control. He threw his Jarjara upon them and brought the Rakshasas under control. Okay, this episode might seem silly, okay, something is being played there and the Rakshasas overreact, okay.
Not really. Even today it happens.
Exactly. So what's happening here is whatever was an artistic portrayal of a historical episode was taken too personally by the audience. So here in the first chapter itself, the Bharata speaks about the responsibility of an audience or a connoisseur or a rasika.
Not to censor, for one thing.
Exactly. So the bhavas which were portrayed by the actors on the stage during the staging of Samudramatana were taken just as bhavas by the Rakshasas. When bhavas don't get elevated to the level of a rasa, then the art form fails. At least the perception of the audience is lacking there. There's something lacking in the audience when they can't go beyond the specific emotional states, which are the bhavas, and take it to the level of an aesthetic experience.
So don't personalize it. Basically, what he's saying is that don't personalize it. Don't take it.
Yeah.
So Arjun, I have a 2-part question. One is you keep talking about bhava and rasa, and we have mentioned that in other episodes as well. So what is the difference between the two, between bhava and rasa? And the next question, which is, as you say, Natyashastra is not just about dance. Then why did they call it Natyashastra? Is there a Sanskrit word for art, and that could be that shastra?
All right. Bhavas are the specific emotional states that are portrayed by an artist on the stage. For example, when you prepare a dish, right, you would add vegetables, you would add sugar, salt, chili powder, and all of that. So these different ingredients are the bhavas. But can you tell what would be the final taste outcome of this unless someone tastes it? So the flavor or the taste that has finally got out of all the mixture of these is the rasa. And rasa can't be defined or it can't be expressed using words. You'll have to feel it. It needs to be experienced. And for that, you need to have a good tongue again. Like if you have a fever or whatever, if you're suffering from a disease, everything that you eat would taste bitter to you. So you must have a good tongue. This is again an example which Bharata gives in the Natyashastra itself, while defining bhavas and rasas and while trying to distinguish between the two. So the bhavas are the basic ingredient in a meal, and rasa is the experience that you get while eating it. What does having a good tongue stand here for. So while enjoying an art piece, you must have certain amount of erudition. You must have certain background to understand the art form or appreciate it. So you must not either overreact like what the Rakshasas did in the case where Samudranamatna was being portrayed. Rasa is what is felt, what is experienced by the connoisseur, by the Rasika. So does it mean that the artist does not have rasa in him? Does he have only bhava? That is not true either. For that, Bharata again gives the example of a tree. So what is tree after all? It is the manifestation of whatever is in the root. The root is the basis, and from the root, the stem of the tree, the flowers, fruits, and leaves, all of them grow about. So rasa is what is there, what is present in the artist too. It manifests itself in the form of bhava. Speaking from the connoisseur's angle, it is the taste that he gets out of while eating a meal or a dish. While defining rasa and bhava, so a bhava is dependent on a context, a cultural context. Why would someone feel pain? It could be due to different reasons, the loss of a beloved one or failure in something. So several things can cause pain. And the way you express pain could also be different. So the vibhavas, the causes which cause a bhava, an emotion, could be different for different people. And the way you express it could be different for different people. But what is the universality there? The pain is the universal thing. Similarly, love is something universal. So these are the 8 rasas. Bharata does not mention the Shanta rasa. Shanta is the 9th one. Shanta is the end product of any art form. Like, why would you go and see a movie or anything? See, even there, even if Rama and Ravana are fighting, or if Sita is being kidnapped, you would come home and say that I enjoyed the movie or I enjoyed the play. But if it was happening in your real life, would you say that if you see a woman being kidnapped, would you say that I enjoyed seeing that woman being kidnapped? You wouldn't say that, right? So you have a kind of disconnected attitude towards the bhavas that are which are being staged in a movie or in a novel or whatever, or in a painting or in a sculpture. So this disconnected attitude that you have, that the Rasika is supposed to have, is what evokes the rasa in him. So this is the aesthetic experience. And several times you would have said that I forgot myself while reading a book or while watching a play or whatever. So there you have transcended beyond the bhavas and gone to the stage of rasa, where you have lost track of time and space and what's happening. It is kind of something between the world and the sublime, the Vedanta. The art is the medium which connects the two.
That's why it's
the
called Brahmananda Sahodara.
Exactly. Rasananda is called Brahmananda Sahodara.
So Arjun, then why is it called the Natyashastra when it encompasses all the other arts?
So people think Natyashastra is a book on dance because they confuse the terms Natya and Nritya. Nritya is dance. Although the word Nritya does not explicitly come in the Natyashastra, Nritya is dance. Natya is a complete theatrical experience. It comes from the root word nat, that means to act, to portray. So in a theater performance, you have the lyrics for the songs. You have the songs, of course, the elaboration of melody, of ragas and so on. You have the acting, which the actors do, and you have dance also. And with that, you have the stage requirements, the lighting, the aharya, the ornaments or whatever the costumes that the actors need to wear. So all of this put together is the Natya. And the systematization of these rules or what is to be done by different people is the Natyashastra. So Nritya is just one component of it. So now what is the responsibility of an artist then? In the last chapter, in the 36th chapter, after having told everything about what an artist can do in the rest of the 35 chapters, he finally tells what happens when art is misused or abused. So everything was still happening in the heaven. So there Bharata, of course, taught all his 100 children the art of Natyashastra. So this knowledge gave rise to arrogance in the children of Bharata. So what they started doing is, they started caricaturing the sages, the rishis who were present there. So they took too much of freedom. So the freedom that an artist has to portray whatever is a historical situation or a new concept or whatever, that was being misused. So extreme caricature led to vulgarity. So the responsibility of an artist is to make it bhavanu kirtana. So it is exalted imitation of bhavas or of emotions. And that too should not go too much. It should not be too exaggerated, or you must not misuse the artistic freedom that you have. So that is what the children of Bharata did. And they got a shapa, like that they would be born as some low caste people throughout. That is again a metaphor. It should not be taken in any specific social or cultural context.
Correct.
So what happens when you misuse the rights or knowledge that is given to you? That is what the final chapter,
so basically he's given very specific boundaries to do's and do nots.
Don'ts, yes.
Yeah, for an artist.
Yeah.
And the exaggerated emotions being portrayed on stage makes perfect sense when you're sitting in the audience.
So what does an artist essentially do? He puts on emotions. He becomes a character which he really is not.
Yes.
So an artist, we know the TV serial Mahabharata, where the person who did the role of Arjuna, he got so attached to the character of Arjuna that he changed his name to Arjun later on. So there, the artist has started identifying himself too much with the character that he is portraying. That is again an over-involvement of sentiment or of emotion on the part of the artist. So you must be a witness to the emotions that are being portrayed by you. So there is an adhyaropa of a different character or of different emotions on the artist as long as he is on the stage, and he needs to get over it after he comes off the stage. So this is what the Vedanta also says, right? You just need to be a witness to the emotions. Being a witness to the emotions is where you have elevated the bhavas to the level of rasas.
I think, you know, for people, Vedanta is very easy to listen to, and they say be detached and all that. What you have said is actually a toolkit, in a sense that, you know, all the grandmothers say you have to be detached, very hard to do. But if you view yourself as being part of a play, then it might be...
like just to witness a movie or a play or while reading a novel.
Yes,
right?
Have that little... so Arjun, is there... So we've been talking about rasa and bhava, and is there a rasa in other fields, like in sports or science?
See, even in sport, while you are a part of the sport, you forget yourself. But again, there is I am playing this, I need to win this. So you're still at the level of bhava. And a sport which is played today can't be enjoyed as a masterpiece of art for thousands of years, probably. So the identity of me is still there in the sport. And an art form should deal with basic human emotions, right? Universal human emotions. Here it is specific to a sport, specific to a context. And on the other hand, science, right? That's more of an intellectual activity. There is less of emotional involvement there. So art basically deals with emotion.
Were there censors or censor boards in ancient India, or today's equivalent of censor boards? Was there an idea or a concept that says you cannot say this is not to be done on stage?
Yeah, there are some things that Bharata does speak about, but it changes over time and place. So that is what is auchitya, proprietary, right? So these, in the last chapter, like I was speaking about, the children of Bharata, they went beyond auchitya, whatever is, it was too much of exaggeration leading to vulgarity. So the very purpose of the creation of Natyashastra was to get relief from the world, to enjoy something in sublimity, to get entertained. But here again, what the children of Bharata were doing is, they were mocking at some person. So there they went beyond the limits of auchitya.
Okay.
Yeah.
It seems to me that we've only touched the tip of the iceberg. I think there's a lot to learn in this field. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Hope you'll come again.
Thank you.
Namaste.